we're going to move on to the next topic of discussion tonight. Actually, Tom brought this up in our group chat earlier. He said that, maybe a good topic of discussion would be bring up which 0-2 team has the best shot at the playoffs. So, James, out of the list that we have here, the Giants, the Vikings, the Lions, the Falcons, the Jets, the Colts, and the Jaguars. Out of those 7 teams, who do you think has the best shot at making the playoffs?
All right. I'll do a quick, short, but also to the point. Jets, no, they're too young. They'll make noise. They aren't going to make the playoffs. Jacksonville, they're all up in the air. I think once they get on track, might be a little bit too late. Just to the sole fact they have the Patriots in their division. I see them making noise. I see them potentially making a run. It's not their year this year. Atlanta, I didn't really watch the Tampa Bay game versus Atlanta, so I don't really know much about Atlanta right now. Ask me this question after this weekend. It doesn't depend if the Giants beat them or not. Atlanta will make noise. They might be a team that sneaks in. They're always a sneaky team, in my opinion. Detroit.
No,
not this year. No, sorry, Detroit. Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, Gabe Flayton. If you're watching, bud, comment. I think they make it. I do think so. The Colts. Who's their quarterback? Is their quarterback?
It's Carson Wentz, but now he is apparently 2 sprained ankles.
How does the guy walk? But no, that's a whole nightmare of a mess. I saved our team for last, only for this reason. If we get on track, we can make the playoffs. If we don't get on track, this division, in a sense, is ours to lose, along with the Cowboys to lose, along with Washington to lose.
Well, then it's not really ours to lose, then,
I know, but it's not solely ours, but there's 3
It's not far-fetched to see the Giants winning the division as long as they can. Again, it's all about execution. I get what you're saying.
Correct. That's my predictions, Kyle. I mean, the Jets, I'm sorry, they're not making it this year.
No. I would say that the Vikings, hands down, probably the best chance. Because if you look at their first 2 games, they've just been crushed in defeats where they're going to look back in the end of the season, depending upon where they finish, whether they make the playoffs or not.
Yep.
Lost week 1 in an overtime loss to Cincinnati on a game-winning field goal.
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen. Hey, look at this week. Greg Joseph misses an extra point earlier in the game, which would have had them tied. And then he missed the game-winning field goal down the line to potentially win them the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 victories for the Minnesota Vikings. They have looked like a good team. They have not looked like a bad team.
Correct.
They just have not had too many things go their way. A total of 4 points is the margin of error, James. They've been outscored by 4 points over the course of 2 games, and that's the 2 games in which they've lost. That's not bad at all. And in a division in which features teams like the Detroit Lions, who I do not believe are going to be very good, the Chicago Bears, who I think are a questionable team as well, as where they stand in terms of how good can they be, how bad can they be.
Yes.
Minnesota, I think, is a better overall team than them. And then Green Bay as well. While they looked great against Detroit last night, more so in the second half, because it was kind of getting a little scary going into halftime. I think they were down, actually, going into halftime.
They were down. Yeah.
But came alive in the second half. They lost week 1, if we remember, 35-6 or something like that against the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, yes.
Now that could have been a warm-up game. That could have been a pregame to the beginning of the season. That could all be gone, and Aaron Rodgers will get back on track and look like he looked in the Detroit game last night every single night. But I think that if you're asking me, out of those teams that we just listed, who am I most confident in that I think that will make the playoffs? I think the Vikings have the best shot out of those teams to make the playoffs, hands down. I would say Indianapolis. I would say Indianapolis because of what we just talked about with the Titans. How in the AFC South, Jacksonville and Houston are basically automatically eliminated for me. And it should just be a foot race between those 2 teams. But being that now their quarterback is in question, I just don't see how you're going to win many football games without having a quarterback behind center. So for me, I think it's Minnesota that is essentially it's their division to lose.
And that's what the comment section is saying. John Suggs is Minnesota. Tom also says Vikings are my best team with the best shot. English James. Yes, Tom. And then John also comments, Jacob
Eason is their quarterback.
Texans.
It's gonna be very, very difficult for them. We'll see what happens for them down the line. If I was to predict right now, I would say again the Minnesota Vikings.